Hey guys, Hella Bella here, and in this video I'm going to be doing a food review for Royal Caribbean. I just got back from an 8-day cruise with them. I was on the Allure of the Seas ship and I really enjoyed the food in the beginning. Towards the end of the cruise, I was kind of ready to be done with it. I'm going to be talking about the food in the Windjammer, which is their buffet area, and I'm also going to talk about the main dining experience that we had. We had the My Time dining, and I'm going to talk about some of the other free restaurants. If you don't know, you can upgrade and get different packages like specialty restaurants included, but for this video, everything that I'm going to be talking about is included in your cruise. So my first impressions of the food are that it was okay. I don't feel like it was anything that was super amazing or anything to write home about. I feel like there's a lot of areas where they probably could have improved. There was things like our steak was really undercooked one night, so bad that our waiter sent it back for us. There was also a scenario where, like the chicken and stuff was just like really tough and just, I don't know, like it sat out for too long. So personally, I'm not like a fan of buffet style food, so that's also going to come into play in this review. But I'm going to try to be honest and not too critical about it, because I know that like everyone has different opinions when it comes to food, but I think my bar might be a little bit higher than some people's. I'm not really sure. So the Windjammer is where most people will have most of their meals when they get on the ship. This is like a buffet that you can get all kinds of different things. You can get sandwiches, you can get like mashed potatoes with gravy and chicken and things like that. And they pretty much have something different every night that's rotating. I believe they did like Indian night, they did Italian night, and maybe a Caribbean night. So they had a couple of different varieties of things, but they also kept things the same. So if you really liked something, you could probably get it again the next day on your cruise. Overall, my impression of the Windjammer was it was quite chaotic. They did have a really good salad bar that I enjoyed, and that was nice to be able to eat something fresh. They had fresh fruit as well. They had chicken, they had different kinds of things like deviled eggs, and they had Italian food one night. I really wasn't super impressed with anything in the Windjammer, if I'm just being honest with you. One thing that kind of started to get on our nerves was that they would come and ask to take your plate while you're like still eating. Like you'd be in the middle of eating a bite and they would come over and be like, "Are you finished?" And after doing that for a couple of days in a row, you do start to get really annoyed. I saw some people get frustrated, and I do realize that they're trying to do their job and keep the place clean, but it just felt like we were being rushed out of there, especially because they would come sometimes 2 or 3 times while we were eating to try and take our plates away, and it just became like a really annoying thing that happened every time we went to the Windjammer. So in the Windjammer, they actually have a couple different things to drink. They have water, lemonade, juice, and tea, and they also have coffee, and they have hot water, so you can make a hot tea. They have a couple different types of teas provided. So I feel like they had a pretty good variety of drinks. We didn't do any of the drink packages. Actually, on my past cruises, I've had the full drink package, and on this cruise, I didn't do the drink package. And I feel like ultimately I wound up feeling a lot better because I wasn't trying to drink as much as I could because I had bought the drink package. So overall, we didn't feel it necessary to do the soda package either. I noticed a lot of comments on Facebook saying that the soda was flat and that some of the machines weren't working, so I feel like people didn't have the greatest experience when it comes to getting those drink packages. One thing that was good about the Windjammer is there was a ton of options, so if you didn't like something, obviously you didn't have to finish it. You could just go and get something else. So I found myself making several trips every single time trying to find something that I liked. So another place to get food on Allure of the Seas was the Park Cafe. If you have seen any of the pictures of the Park Cafe, it's in Central Park. That is an area with lots of trees, and they make it kind of like a little park area. In there they had like some sandwiches, some paninis, and they also had some desserts. My main complaint about most of the food in the Park Cafe is that it was mostly bread. You would get like a thick thing of bread and then like a tiny piece of meat, and it just felt like everything that they were giving us was bread. And eventually, you get sick of eating so much bread, you start to feel bloated, you start to feel not so great. So I really wish that they would give like more meat on the sandwiches. But in the Park Cafe, we also got like a cheese panini that was really good, and we got some macaroons that I really liked at the Park Cafe. I think a lot of it, like the desserts look really pretty and well presented, but like ultimately they don't have very much flavor at all. So Johnny Rockets was another option that you can do for breakfast, and you can actually do this one for free if you eat there during breakfast. We went one day on our cruise and I got the BELT sandwich, and we got coffee and orange juice, and it was nice to be able to like sit on the boardwalk and just kind of enjoy our breakfast and our morning away from like the chatter of the Windjammer, because after going to the Windjammer so many times, you eventually do get sick of just having to kind of fight the crowd in order to find a seat and in order to get a drink. And overall it was not the best place for an introvert, so I was happy to have that other option for breakfast that we could have. If you get Johnny Rockets at any other time of the day, it is paid, but I think it's around $10, so it's not like a super expensive option. Like some of the other options were, to me, ridiculously overpriced. Like I think the sushi or something was like $35 and chops was like $65, and to us that's just not really worth it for one meal. We didn't find ourselves really feeling like, you know, we were going to splurge on something like that. I'd rather get a meal from a real restaurant when we're off the ship and actually enjoy like some local cuisine. So another place that we found ourselves going to a lot was the Sorrento's pizza place, and it was just a fast and easy option. We found that they had like pepperoni and cheese and a Hawaiian pizza, and overall it was fast and easy to sit down and get something. It wasn't the greatest pizza. I don't know what I would compare it to, maybe like not as bad as Little Caesars, but not as good as like Pizza Hut, I guess. It wasn't super flavorful, and there was like next to no sauce on the pizza at all. At one point I like pulled the cheese back because I was like, is there sauce on this like at all? And I was like, it was like barely any sauce. It was like they barely put sauce on it. So you know, no, overall not great quality on any of the fast casual food options on the ship. Our main dining experience was probably the best food that we had while we were on Royal Caribbean ship, and I feel like that is due to the fact that they have, you know, kind of set the bar a little higher for themselves there. They want it to be like a classic main dining experience. I felt like the menu was really good. You could get steak, you could get salmon, you could get different kinds of beef, and you know, being able to order the appetizer, the main entree, and the dessert was of course nice, because typically when you order all that and you go to a restaurant at home, you know, you're not going to leave without paying less than, you know, at least $50 or $60, and sometimes up to $100 for that type of meal back home. So we did take advantage of the main dining. I feel like we probably went to it about half of the nights that we were on our cruise. We were on our cruise for 8 days, so in my opinion that was kind of a longer cruise. So, you know, some nights we felt like getting dressed up and going to dinner, and other nights we didn't. I will say that we didn't really dress up super dressy to go to main dining. I just personally didn't feel like it was necessary. I wore like a floral top and jeans one night, and another night I had on like a sundress, and you know, I just feel like it's your cruise, you should be able to wear what you want, so we didn't stress too much on it. I will say we didn't go to dining during the formal night because we just didn't want to have to deal with it. We're not dress up people, so I guess it just depends on your personality. But as far as the food in the main dining, I had a really good steak one night. Daniel really liked the Caribbean pork chop type of thing. He also had the tagliatelle one night, and he liked that a lot. I had the chicken cordon bleu was awful. It actually like made me physically sick after eating it, so could not recommend that. I really liked the French onion soup. That was probably one of the best things that we had in the main dining room. It was like full of cheese and just really hot and fresh, and you know, it was really a good option if you really don't know what to get. I feel like French onion is a safe choice. We actually got pork tacos one night, and Daniel really enjoyed those. I didn't try them, but they looked pretty good, and just being able to get some interesting things like that were kind of cool. One night I got the scallops, and I never really tried scallops that much because I live in like rural Alabama, and there's just not that many places to get good fish around here. So overall, I felt like it was a good way for us to kind of try some different things that we hadn't been able to try back at home. Service in the main dining room was excellent. We had a great server, and we had him every night. He kept us laughing, and he kept us ordering the right things. There was one night where we were like, I don't really know what to order, and he was like, well, don't order this. Like, he pointed out what was not good, so he really saved us from ordering something that we didn't want. But I think that, you know, overall their quality of like staff is really high. It's just the food was lacking for me personally, and that's obviously my personal opinion. That's, you know, it's not fact, it just is what it is. Different people feel differently about food, but overall the food experience for me on Royal Caribbean was pretty mediocre. I will give an honorable mention for Cups and Scoops. This is a paid option where you can go and get Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but even though it was paid, it was still really cheap. It was like $7 for us both to get a double scoop, and that's 2 people's ice cream. And usually when you go get ice cream at home, it's like $7 for one ice cream. So I was happy to be able to get Ben & Jerry's while we were on the cruise. That is the only paid option that we had. There was one night where we ordered a bottle of wine at dinner. Since we didn't get the drink package, obviously we weren't drinking as much, but there was a bottle of wine that was like $32, or it was a glass of wine for $11, so we just went ahead and got the bottle, and that was fun to do at dinner one night. But I'm kind of glad we didn't do that every single night, because honestly, I don't feel that great after we drink a bottle of wine. Now, I've only been on 2 other cruise lines besides Royal Caribbean. I've been on a Carnival cruise, which was my first cruise, and I've been on a Holland America cruise. So I will say the food on Royal Caribbean really wasn't much better than Carnival. It actually was pretty similar to me, and the food on Holland America was much better than the food on Royal Caribbean. And one of the reasons I think this is because Royal Caribbean's capacity was just massive. I think they have a 5,400 passenger capacity on the Allure of the Seas, so a lot of people that they're having to provide for and feed, and you know, it's just hard to do things well when you're doing them at scale, so I don't really fault them for that. But this just is my opinion about it. It's not anything that is going to ruin your cruise or anything like that. It's just, you know, what we had on our cruise overall I felt like was good, wasn't great, and that's just how I feel about it. Now, there are a few times when we wanted to get food and things had not opened up yet. I think this was around 10 or 11 that someone in the elevator mentioned that we were currently like in a food desert because the Windjammer was closed, the main dining room was closed, the park cafe was closed. I want to say it was around 11 that this had happened. But overall, you know, most of the time you were able to get food. We didn't really bring any snacks on board with us, and we found that we had plenty of options. And you know, overall, you can mix it up every day. You don't have to eat the same thing. I do have another video about my overall experience with my first Royal Caribbean cruise. I'm probably going to make a video about our port stops and our shore excursions and things like that, because there's just too much information to go over in one video, and I want to keep it concise. So I hope that you guys enjoyed my honest opinion about the food. Not any shade at Royal Caribbean at all. I would probably cruise with them again. I just wanted to be honest about how I feel about all of it. But yeah, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want more cruise videos, you can always subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.